Two really big derbies, both both finishing in the same color. Let's get into that, and then Chelsea spent another 100 million. What's new? This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from some number of friends who support different clubs. My name is James. I support Arsenal. Up top with me, that's Brad. He supports Chelsea. Diagonally across from me, that's Joel. He supports Newcastle. And then that's Sean. He's right below me. He supports Tottenham Hotspurs. Gentlemen, hello, Joel. Welcome back.
Good evening. Thanks for having me again, guys. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely
Joel,
not.
speaking of 100 mil, what's the protocol on teams switching their colors? I was just curious if Chelsea were able to switch to the color of money, since they're just going to drop exorbitant amounts of money on they might as well just change the color.
Our third kid is actually like green next year. It's mint green.
There we go.
There we go. You have explicitly said to. Yeah.
Who's got the Saudi money? Come on.
we got Daddy Todd.
We
don't got Saudi money.
You haven't rubbed it in our face yet, Joel. like City and Chelsea have.
I think
we're being sensible.
Chelsea's going to be, Todd Bowley maybe specifically is going to be real confused in a couple years when UEFA comes knocking. They're like, you can't keep spending money like this. You guys are in non-compliance with financial fair play. And he's gonna be like, wait, there was a salary cap the whole time. I couldn't spend all this money. So
amortization is a thing, sir.
Oh, is that why you're giving people 8.5-year contracts? Yeah.
Yes, that actually is why everybody's on 6 and 7 year and 8-year contracts.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I don't think that's a good look. But I also don't run a football club, so we'll get into that. But before we get too deep today, if you are new here, if you're stumbling across us, if you could please hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell if you're on YouTube. If you're on one of our podcast sites, we'd love it if you hit us with a follow, rate it 5 stars if your platform allows it, and then jump in on the YouTube comments, leave us a comment, or get in our Discord, talk to us there. It's all that's linked in the show notes or the description of the video. Do all those things. It would really help us out. We'd love to hear from you throughout the week. But what we've got lined up for you guys tonight, of course, we're referencing Chelsea buying Mikhailo Mudryk from Shakhtar Donetsk. We're going to get into that a little bit, not too much. We'll probably get more into that in our news episode later this week. We're going to talk about the Manchester derby, the North London derby. We're going to, of course, need to talk about Newcastle if Joel's here. Obviously, we're going to have to talk about Newcastle. And I guess we might touch a little bit on Chelsea results if there's time. But I think we want to start. We want to kick off in Manchester, if we still want to do that. Manchester City, Manchester United win the game 2-1. Actually, am I getting ahead? Should I go through all of the results and put up the league table? Should I normally do that?
I think we have the statistically closest derby, I believe, with Chelsea.
Okay,
is that right?
All right, let me get the league table up real quick, and we'll just get that out of the way. I'm sorry that I forgot, loyal listeners. I apologize. I got ahead of myself. I was so excited to talk about the results, but
Joel said he was only coming on if you brought up the table.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
I'm out.
I don't mind. I don't mind looking at the table. I enjoy this table. All right, so first position is still Arsenal. They have an 8-point lead over Manchester City, who are in second. Manchester City have 1 point lead on third place Newcastle and fourth place Manchester United. So things are getting real tight in the top four. Then Spurs are in fifth on 33 points. Fulham in sixth. Brighton and Hove Albion are in seventh. Brentford are in eighth. Liverpool are in ninth. And Chelsea are in 10th. As a quick aside, before we look at the second half of the table, it's a bit wild to me that like you get through the top 5 and then there's 3 like medium to small clubs like before we get to Liverpool or Chelsea. That's just wild to me. In 11th is Villa. Crystal Palace are in 12th. Nottingham Forest are up to 13th. They're on 20 points. They're a third of the way to safety. So maybe they'll get there.
Halfway.
Yes, I understand that. But if they get relegated on greater than 30 points, I will be shocked.
20 plus 20 is 40.
I understand that, Brad.
You said so they're 2/3 of the way.
Did I say
You
one
said they're
third?
third. Yes,
Okay.
You said
that's why we're
1/3.
making fun of you.
I meant to say maybe we can run this
Here,
take back. Maybe I
here
might
at
have
Red
said
Card Radio, fractions are not our friends.
I might have said they're a third of the way away from safety. I don't know how I said it. We'll have
You
to go back and
didn't.
listen. We'll
Didn't.
see.
We can
We'll
get
see.
Abby to take another listen.
Put it in
See.
the comments.
It wasn't Abby, it was Kate, and we'll get into that.
Sorry.
We'll get into that next
Sorry, Kate.
episode. Okay, where was I? Leeds are in 14th. Leicester are in 15th. Wolves are in 16th. They're out of the relegation zone for now. Bournemouth are down to 17th. West Ham, Everton, Southampton, all in the relegation zone. If we take a second to pause and look at 14 through 20, 2 points separate the 14th place team and the 20th place team, Southampton.
I
It's
called that a couple weeks ago. I said the relegation separation, the relegation tussellation, whatever we want to deem it, whatever
Yeah.
the term moniker we want to put on it, is going to be absolutely bananas.
yeah, and
More than previous years, it feels like.
well, I think your point was that the relegation fight is going to be more interesting. It's going to be closer than the fight for top 4. And I mean,
It's starting to shape up that way.
yeah, I mean, I think that this fight for second right now is really interesting. But
Well, with the help of 2020 rearview mirror, did you have a bottom 3 that you were going to stick to, or do you have?
No,
No.
I thought Everton would be down there again.
Okay,
I didn't see them improving at all. But that was more out of hope than anything. So it's really lovely to see them struggling. It's always nice to see West Ham struggle. I didn't expect them to be this far down.
Same.
So real quick, we had Sean. This is just the relegation 3. We had Sean Everton, Leeds, Bournemouth. We had James Southampton, Fulham, Bournemouth, and we had Brad Everton, Bournemouth, Fulham. So
we're all
right
only
now
going to
the
get
most. Yeah, right now the most wrong is Brad because of Fulham. That's it.
In terms of the points,
He's only
you're
the
correct.
most. Yeah, he's only the most wrong because he had Fulham and they're in 6th.
Don't I also have Fulham going down?
No. You.
Oh.
Oh,
Yes,
you
he
did.
did.
Oh, so
And
right now
Southampton.
Sean's leading.
James is the wrongest because he had Southampton and Fulham
Brad, where is Southampton right now?
And 20th.
at the bottom. And Bournemouth, you had Southampton and
Bournemouth. Yeah,
Bournemouth. You're wrong
you're just
all the
mistaken.
way.
What? All right.
He's got 1 right out of 2.
Okay,
All right,
and
well,
the other
anyways,
one is
it was just an
Fulham and
update. All we were saying was that you had a 6th place team going down, and none of us did.
James
I
did.
did.
James
I
had
did as
Fulham
well.
going down.
Man, you're both wrong. James,
Time out.
Joel, tell these guys
No,
how
tell-
Sean Stradamus strikes again.
Who was Brad's 3 teams one more time for me? He had Everton.
He has Everton, Bournemouth, Fulham.
How can you say you're more right than me when my team my team is 20th and your team is 19th? We both only have 1 team in the relegation zone right now.
On the same amount of points.
I don't like. You can't argue that I am so much worse wrong than you when we are both.
You are.
You're an idiot.
Just more wrong. I'm less wrong by default because I had Everton. I have 1 in and Bournemouth, and then just Leeds, who are in 14th.
There's a long way. This time last year, Newcastle were 19th and dead and buried. So
That's right. We pointed that out. We pointed that out.
All right.
Anything else?
Quick rundown of the games for you.
Yes.
Fulham Chelsea on Thursday. Sean and I both correctly predicted this last week because we recorded in the past and presented the podcast to you in the present.
Yeah.
We were both correct that Fulham were going to win that game. Fulham won that game 2-1. Villa leads on Friday. That game ended 2-1 for Villa. Unai Emery's got that team playing really well. Manchester Derby on Saturday morning. United get the 2-1 victory. Brighton beat Liverpool 3-0. Everton Southampton get the 2-1 victory over Everton in a huge match for relegation implications. Forest Leicester ends 2-0 to Forest. Wolves West Ham 1-0 to Wolves, also huge for Wolves. Brentford Bournemouth. Brentford win 2-0. Chelsea Palace. Chelsea get things right. They win 1-0 at home. In the Newcastle Fulham game, Newcastle win the game 1-0. There's apparently some shenanigans that I'm sure Joel will fill us in on. And then in the North London derby, Arsenal get the 2-0 victory away to Spurs, their first victory at either White Hart Lane since 2014. And we do the league double over Spurs in a long time. I don't remember the last time. It had to have been at least 2014. I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, so now I think we are appropriately prepared to get into the Manchester Derby. All right. I think the biggest thing we need to talk about this match is the equalizing goal from Bruno. Was he offside? Was Rashford offside? Should it have been called offside? If you haven't seen it, I would. It's going to be hard to explain per se. You should just pause the video, pull up the highlights, watch the highlights real quick, and you can kind of see what we're talking about. But Rashford is obviously in an offside position. The ball is obviously played to Rashford. Rashford runs with the ball for like 3 or 4 steps, never touches the ball, and then Bruno just kind of kicks it in out of his path and scores the goal. The City are claiming offside. The linesman puts the flag up, and then after consultation, the goal is awarded. I'm curious to know what you guys think, if it's offside or not.
Should not have been a goal.
Okay, Joel has offside. Brad?
Have you guys seen the picture without, like when they erased Rashford?
I have, yeah.
It's offsides.
Sean, is it offside or is it a good goal?
He didn't touch the ball though, right?
He did not.
Doesn't matter.
He did not. Again,
I haven't seen the guy I was watching with could only put up audio, so I haven't physically seen it with my eyeballs. Does he impede the play in any way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does he influence the play?
Yes.
Does he influence the play? That's probably a better
Brad and
word.
Joel.
If Rashford isn't interfering as much as he is, Akanji gets there, Walker's in a different position, Ederson's in a different position, Rashford affects all those 3 things.
Then it's offsides.
I don't think it should be a
like-
goal.
If his
Sean.
gravitational pull pulls any defenders in any way, that changes the play.
So it was as he did not touch the ball, but it was as if he was dribbling. That's where the ball was located.
Yeah, it was like
The
rolling.
entire time he was running.
It was
like
rolling
and
between
he
his
was-
feet. Yeah. It's
Then that's even worse. Then like he's above the ball.
yeah.
essentially, yeah.
VAR had a stinker with that one. It was
That's rough.
No, the
So-
linesman called it right. I don't know why. Like what happened to change it. Like we have said this multiple times. We are begging for refs to explain their decisions. Why did you see that as not that? I know.
That's
Like, we
puzzling
are
too,
begging
because
for
they don't
that.
often overturn offsides unless it's egregious.
The ref didn't go back and watch it though.
No,
he?
the ref didn't see
It
anything.
was
No.
just VAR. VAR told him what to do. So whoever's on VAR should come out and say, "This is why it was a goal. This is why."
We're
Yeah,
going to say he didn't touch the ball.
That's
That's going to be the
accountability.
reason.
Even if it's as simple as the NBA refs have to write a written explanation of crucial calls that are provided to them by the NBA.
Only in the last 2 minutes, though. They only have to do it in the last 2 minutes of the game, which is stupid.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But the NBA provides them with the explanations that they want. The refs give them the explanations, and then those are published.
Well, the NBA is we could get it. We could have
Even if we get to that point.
Yeah.
Yes. Even if we get to that point, at least we have referees explaining explanations of why they called something.
It's obviously offside. The fact that the linesman was overruled by Atwell on the pitch or by VAR, I'm not sure. I don't know who specifically made the decision, but it's a horrendous call. It's a horrible call. Please watch the video and let us know in the comments what you think. I mean, obviously I'm happy. Obviously it materially helps Arsenal, but it's such a bad call. And if we're getting back into the era where Manchester United just get all the calls from the Premier League refs, I'm not here for that. Now Howard Webb's in charge again, so you never know.
Yeah, he was in the studio like that's
Yeah.
onside. You don't need to look at it.
He got a text from Fergie and it was just like, that's a goal. And he said, yeah, that's a goal. Tell him it's a goal. And so I don't know. It was obviously, and that changed the game dramatically because then United
100%.
scored like 2 minutes later, something like that. They hit back to back, which is obviously not good. Like City need to do better, but
City only had one shot on target the whole game though.
And Holland was largely not present. Like he didn't very few touches, which
Fact that Casemiro got away with like 3 fouls in the box. Like this was a terribly refed game. At least was consistent. It was a consistently terribly refed game.
yeah,
But like
That's
for
all I asked
for
for.
for for City to have 0 penalties when Casemiro was straight mugging everybody in the box, like egregiously.
I don't
What he
know.
does.
I don't think that Casemiro's. I'm not sure any of the challenges that you're referencing were actual penalties, in my opinion. A lot of them were shoulder to shoulder. A lot of them. Okay, I think there
You
was the
looked at me and
one.
was like, "That's a
Yes,
penalty."
there was the
There was
one
at
where
least one that was a very solid penalty where he got no ball at all.
the hanging leg.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that was the one. But the other
And then
two,
there
I
was
thought
one more where there was one where there was another one where he didn't get the ball.
the other two you thought were penalties. I didn't, but the hanging leg one, the first one definitely should have been called. Um,
Out of those 3, one of them should have been called, is
but
what I'm saying.
it's kind of like the referee didn't want to make that call in that situation in the same regard. Like, I'm going to compare this also to the North London derby where Thomas Partey should have had a yellow card in the first 10 minutes for handball, and he didn't get one. And I think it's because the ref didn't want to set the precedent where, um, everything is going to be, we're going to be really harsh on this.
Right.
I've got a note on that later when we get to it, but
Yeah.
I've got a note on the reffing.
So I don't know. It was. I think City probably feel bad, but I think Brad, you thought that City were going to walk all over United, and
I did.
Sean and I were both skeptical of that. I think this is a different United team than 4 months ago. I think it's a more they understand what they're doing, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. Like
The cancer is now a sun cancer.
because
in
he's
Saudi Arabia.
yeah.
That
So I don't know. I think
was weak. That was weak, but it's
That was not a
okay.
good one. That was not
No,
okay.
no, it
That's
was.
not a
I
good
gave
one.
you the laugh because it's like it's close to a
Alright.
dad joke, so I'm there.
I'm not
Yeah,
super.
I was going for a dad joke there.
I'm not super
Yeah.
looking forward to playing United next weekend, but we'll get into that in the preview episode, which you'll want to watch on Friday. So let's change gears and look at
Newcastle,
Newcastle.
Fulham?
Yeah, Newcastle Fulham. So the game ends 1-0. Late goal.
Yeah, Isak. Good for him to get a goal,
He's
a
back.
winner
He's
as
back.
well.
Good.
Yeah,
That was a
he's been out
big
for a
signing.
little while.
Big signing
Yes.
for you guys.
60 million or something like that. Newcastle were much. I don't know if any of you watched it or watched the highlights, but they were much the better team. More possession. Fulham didn't have a shot on target. There was some controversy with Fulham's penalty, which was it went to VAR. VAR gave it. If you really slow it down, I can't remember the Fulham's player's name. Pereira maybe. He steps on Trippier's standing foot, and then they get tangled, goes down. Ref gives a foul. So maybe a bit harsh, but the penalty. I don't know if any of you've seen that either. Mitrovic, obviously ex Newcastle, steps up, takes it. He kicks it into his standing leg, so it's a double kick as he kind of slips a little bit, and it goes in. And the ref rightly gives it as a free kick to Newcastle because it's a double kick.
Yep.
And so that was a little comical to watch, a bit of a relief. But I think Newcastle deserved it. They bossed the game. Fulham, like I said, apart from the penalty, didn't have a shot on target. It would have been really, really harsh if Fulham had won that. But big win,
I mean,
5 clean sheets in a row. Third in the league.
I think Newcastle the only team in the league that are on a 5-game that have won 5 of the last 5. Everybody else has dropped points except for I guess United.
United is the only one.
Yeah, I got this mixed up.
Newcastle
drew.
We drew against Arsenal.
Yeah, and that's why. I wasn't thinking.
But I mean, we've got the best defense in the league, which is something unheard of for Newcastle.
I mean, you guys are 9 points off the title and 1 point off second. Like that's incredible.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw on Twitter this week after this weekend's games, people are saying, "Who'd you rather win the league, Arsenal, City, or United?" And I'm thinking, I know we're the least favourites out of the top 4 right now, but we're sitting third. Like, you can't just rule us out. Like,
Well, I kind of made this point. A couple weeks ago.
Handily third. It's
Yeah,
the goal differential is 22-8.
yeah.
It's not even close.
mhm.
So I made this point a couple weeks ago. It's like if Arsenal see this as an opportunity to win the league, then I think Newcastle also have to see this as an opportunity where they can win the league, because you're not going to get many chances like this with a league where Liverpool suck, Chelsea suck, City are playing poorly, um,
Mhm.
Tottenham are playing that
Tottenham.
are playing their way out of
So
contention. So like,
yeah,
in the same sense where like I look at this as an opportunity where Arsenal kind of have to win the league this year, because I don't know if they're going to get another chance anytime soon. I
Yeah.
feel that way about Newcastle as well, and they kind of have to approach it that way and say we have to go for it. We have to try and win it. We have to do everything we can to try and win it.
Yeah. If you ask Newcastle fans, though, that's not the goal
Certainly,
this season. I
certainly,
mean, so if you ask Newcastle fans, top four this year or win the Carabao Cup, I don't think you'll find one Newcastle fan that will say Champions League. They'll
really,
all want to win. They'll all want to 100% win the Carabao Cup and finish sixth. Take that right now, because it's been what 60 something years since we won a trophy, like a proper domestic trophy.
fair
Like,
enough.
it's been a long time. We talk about Tottenham, but Newcastle have had a long run. So if Newcastle can go down to Wembley, bring home some silverware, that would be unreal. That's the
Certainly,
goal. That's the
yeah.
goal. Top four would be a bonus.
I guess that's a fair point. Like winning the Carabao Cup guarantees European football. It's
Yeah.
Thursday. It's Thursday night football, which is not
Oh, it doesn't matter.
super ideal, but you know, it's silverware. I think that part is probably shouldn't be overlooked. That
Yeah. I
winning
mean, we
a
got
competition is important.
Southampton in the semi-finals. We should, over two legs, should beat Southampton, um, who are sitting bottom of the Premier League. I know they've got a new manager in and they're looking good, but still, over two legs should beat Southampton.
You
But
would hope so.
yeah. But anyway, I can't complain about Newcastle. A tight game against Fulham, but clean sheet win.
Yeah,
Can't
you
can't
take them.
complain.
Um, I think we just go right to the North London Derby here. What did you make of the game, Sean?
it's absolutely horrendous goalkeeping from Lloris. That was note number one. Is you, I can't have my goalkeeper having an own goal on an end line run. Uh, that's like FIFA stuff when you don't have a cross in EA Sports FIFA, you just kick it as hard as you can and hope it deflects off the goalkeeper. Or in NHL too. They do that in the NHL. When you don't have a shot, you just throw it at the goalie's chest and hope for the best. And I feel like that's what Saka was kind of doing. He was trying to cross, but then it deflects off Sessegnon's foot, goes right at Lloris's chest. He claps it in because I don't know what he's doing, but um, yeah, spin goes off his right hand, kind of deflects it in. Um, he was probably trying to back up to get in position for a cross. Second goal just seemed like he just fell over like a cartoon. Like he just seemed like he decided late he was going left,
I
and
I,
he just like
I think you're being
second. But
I think you're being
yeah,
harsh on Lloris, and
I don't think so
I'll tell you why I think you're being harsh on Lloris. I
because he's old.
No, I'm all about making fun of geriatrics. So don't worry about it. I'm not. That's not the point. That's not true. I don't make fun of geriatrics, but
I
um,
do. I'm here.
all right.
I'll plant my flag in that. I'll plant my flag in that.
No. Anyway, so the first one, I think that Lloris reads the play very well. He's in a position where he's expecting the cross. He's expecting the cutback, and Saka intends to cut it back. Saka cuts it back, and it deflects off Sessegnon, and it gets a kind of very crazy spin, and it starts coming at Lloris. When his body motion and his thought process are, okay, he's cut it back. I need to make my way across the goal so I can get big on the header or whatever. I need to get in position for the shot that's the imminent shot. And so he's reading it correctly, he's moving correctly, and then it's just coming at him, and he's just like, "Oh, what am I doing here?" And it just kind of hits off him. He tries to get a hand to it, and it just spins, and it gets a crazy spin. It rolls up over him, and it's unfortunate. I know that you want your goalie to do better there. Yes, it's a bad look, but I don't think he's as at fault. There have been worse own goals, I think. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but that one doesn't rank very highly in my estimation
The
of
only
own
one
goals.
below it didn't happen to be an own goal, but it was when that Bundesliga goalkeeper thought the penalty spot was the ball and then tried to kick it and realized the ball was behind him. That's the only thing below
I don't
what
know.
Lloris just did.
I think that there have been worse own goals. I can't give you any right now. And then the second goal, the Odegaard goal, Odegaard is in the middle of the pitch. Romero is unsighting Lloris, and Odegaard could either open his foot up and curl it or hit it low and hard, which is what he did. And Lloris can either make a decision or try and wait to see until he has confirmation that he went one way or the other, and then makes a dive. It's at like the top of the 18-yard box, and Odegaard gets a free strike on it. That's more on the defenders than the goalkeeper, in my opinion. They didn't do a good
Yeah,
job defending.
I'll give you this. When I watched it back a couple days removed from my anger, the second one's not as bad as I thought.
Okay.
It looks like he just flops over like a fish that you set on his tail.
He does the dead
That's what
fish.
it
He does
looked.
the
That
dead fish celebration
yeah,
from FIFA, EA
yes,
Sports, FIFA.
yeah.
Um,
That's what it looked like originally to me. But I was also just mad, and it wasn't that far. It wasn't that many minutes between the goals that I was still mad from the first goal. So of course I'm going to place blame again.
and I think on
But
top,
Lloris, before the first goal, Lloris had some gaff where he was just like playing with the ball and didn't realize that your striker was just right on his hip.
yeah,
And then I've never seen a goalkeeper pass backwards
yeah,
because somebody had to run behind him to bail him out.
yeah. It was he almost got his pocket picked, and that was almost bad as well. And
And
then
that was right before the first goal.
and then
Right
that
before it.
what came of that is Nketiah got a free shot at goal, and he makes a
Mhm.
save. And I looked at that and I said, Nketiah has to score that because I don't know if we're going to
Mhm.
get another chance like that. I was like, Nketiah has to score that
That was
because
sliding out,
if
hit
you
his knee. Like
if
it was.
if you remember last week, I said Arsenal need to win the game in the first 20 minutes because Spurs are a second half team. Because if we don't capitalize on their slow start, I don't know if we'll win. And when Nketiah misses that, I'm just like, oh man, this is not good. And then of course we're gifted the first goal, and then the game changes at that point. So I don't know.
The other note I'll have was just and I'll bring it back from what we were talking about earlier, was just the inconsistency in reffing. I
Okay,
felt like because you mentioned that with the no yellow on the handball
yeah,
or whatever
Car-
it was. That's a yellow. It's a borderline red. The
uh,
only reason it wasn't is I didn't feel there was intent to it, but there was a handball that I felt like there was intent to
well,
stick your hand out for.
the Partey one is in the middle of the pitch, and he does intentionally handle the ball. I will tell you, yes, if you were to apply the strict letter
Was
of
something
he
was it
reached,
Partey that stuck his hand out? Okay, then that's the one I'm thinking of.
yeah,
There was intent behind it.
oh
That
yeah,
is a red, yellow at minimum.
yeah. So
That is a possible red.
yeah, if you want to strictly apply the handball rule to that, then yes, it's a red card. But
He's
if you want to look at the way that the handball rule is
it's a yellow at minimum.
generally adjudicated, yes, that definitely should have been a yellow card. But then there were
And
also there were a number of fouls that Romero got away with. Romero got away with 3 fouls before he got carded. And so so to my point is that my point earlier was that he was setting up the referee was setting a precedent that he didn't want to call. He wanted to give a little leeway at first, and the Partey one 100% should have been a yellow card. But then on top of that, Romero's second should have been a yellow card.
my only rebuttal to that is that our 4 out of our back 5 got a yellow card before the first Arsenal player got a yellow card. So you can't say that
Maybe
we
I'm
were
not sure.
playing. I yes,
I believe you.
because
I
I
don't.
was like, are we? I was like, are we gonna like if we're handing out cards now, then hand them out equally. That what I said out loud. If we're deciding if we're not handing out cards for Partey, then we're setting the precedent that we're letting them play. But if we are letting them play, stop handing them out to only Tottenham.
I would like to have a quick point of order. Tottenham got
You,
three yellow cards
okay.
before
3 on our
Arsenal.
back line. All
Well,
right.
it was Romero. Hold on,
Doherty
Sessegnon,
got one.
Neon
Sar,
Young.
Sar. Before
Okay.
Langley got his after Martinelli got his. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Um,
All right. Fair enough.
but I don't know. Do you think the result is fair?
Yes.
Okay, I agree.
Well, no. The end result. Let me retract that. Does a 2-0 victory sit right with me? No. It felt more like a 1-1 with a late winner. Like it was a tighter game than 2-0 indicates.
I agree with
But
you.
a loss is probably correct.
Spurs created a lot. Ramsdale had maybe one of his best days as an Arsenal goalkeeper.
He needed it.
7 saves on 7 attempts.
He needed it.
Every attempt that Spurs had, he saved on goal. So very, very good game. And
That would be indicative of, Brad, you can back me up on this math. That would be indicative of a clean sheet.
Yes, it would. That checks.
If there were 7 shots on goal and there were 7 saves, that would mean that there were no goals scored.
True.
Correct. But how many throws?
How many throws did he have? How many throws? That is important stat.
He should have thrown a punch at that Spurs fan at the end. That's what he should have done.
we
Speaking
should
of that,
yeah. So the game ends and Richarlison's acting like a petulant child and getting in
He is a
Ramsdale's
buffoon.
face. And he like shoves Ramsdale, and Ramsdale's like, "I'm going to get my stuff." He goes to get his stuff. He turns his back to the Spurs supporters, and then like a child comes out of the stands and kicks out at Ramsdale. Right. So like
a 35-year-old child.
Turns out it wasn't a child.
Yes.
I thought it was like a 15, 16-year-old kid that was like, bump that guy, coming for him.
Right. You look at this. You look at the situation. You see the person.
Hide him.
You see the person do it, and you're like, this guy is clearly like 15 years old and is just upset and sad and has too much testosterone rolling around in his brain, and he thinks that I can just do this. Turns out he's a 35-year-old man. He's older than I am. Like just out here kicking
most likely
at people.
never be allowed in a Tottenham game ever.
I think it's already happened. But like, did you guys see the video of Sky Sports like commentating, watching him go through it? Oh, he pulled out the scarf. We have his face.
Yeah.
We got him.
Yeah, like the
His
fact
friends should be banned too. Bump that. His friends for hiding him should be banned too for life.
Yes.
Like they probably sent him down there as a day or some stuff. They're gone too.
Well, my question is,
hated
how did he get down so far? They were seated like 20 rows up, and he just like
he slid over and came down. Like he had serious intent. He ran down the steps. He had intent to do that.
Yes.
I tell you what, I wish it happened. Once he kicked out and that steward pushed him back, I wish the steward grabbed him and pulled him in.
Oh
Yes.
man, it would have
Now
been
you're
bad.
with the players.
Yeah.
Now you're with the players. Now let's see how big you are.
Now you got to deal with Granit Xhaka.
Yeah. Yes, that's what they should have held him for Xhaka.
That's
what they should have done.
Wait, did you see Arteta's face? He grabs Ramsdale, and like you just see his face go.
Yeah, you see Xhaka going the other way. Like,
yeah, he's shepherding Ramsdale out, and then you just see Xhaka walk past them, just yelling and getting ready to go fight somebody, and he's just like, nope, and he just runs and grabs him and pulls him back. I think
should have kicked Lloris if he was really mad at the game. Like, let's be honest. He kicked the wrong goalkeeper. Lloris, Ramsdale didn't give in the own goal.
I think that's a good place to end. It's a good note. Check back tomorrow. We'll have a news episode. We'll get into some transfer business and maybe some other shenanigans that we got lined up here. You don't want to miss that tomorrow. And then on Friday we'll have a preview of match week 20. All kinds of stuff happening. We'll get into that. Again, ring that sub notification bell. Hit us with a subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Follow 5-star if you're on the podcast. All those things really do help us out. Follow us on Twitter. That's at KSBradG, at Whiteheart_Sean, at Joel Finley 16.
That's the one.
Crushed it. And I'm at James Tiffany. Collectively, you can find us at redcard_radio. And until tomorrow, we'll love it. Thanks. We'll see you guys later.